So Eddie Howe just held his weekly press conference in the media centre here at Whitley Park. Newcastle United going to Everton with a few injury concerns. Before we walked into that room, Eddie Howe's now cleared some of them up. One of them, the big one, was obviously Alexander Isak. He's definitely not going to be involved. He got withdrawn from the Sweden squad the other day. So Eddie Howe will have to rethink his front line. But the big news definitely is obviously Fabian Schär is back after an ankle injury. And Nick Pope is fine despite some swelling around his knee. And Kieran Trippier is back despite coming off in that game against Man City. He missed the game against Wimbledon, but he'll be back for this weekend's clash. He did have cramp, but thankfully Kieran Trippier will be involved this weekend. So a treble boost, if you like, for Eddie Howe. He knows that this game is hugely important. Could be Newcastle's last ever visit to Goodison Park, Everton moving stadium. But I think what we've got to remember here is last season, regardless of the sentimental side of it, last season Newcastle were well beaten in this fixture. Jordan Pickford had an absolute field day that night. The main thing is Newcastle United looking to build on the last couple of games, the draw against Manchester City, then getting through in the Carabao Cup against Wimbledon. It's been a positive week from that front. Newcastle just need to keep that going. They need to sign off for the international break on a bit of a high. That's what they'll be hoping to do. But I think really for the Magpies heading down to Goodison Park, they'll need no motivation just from what happened last season. The chaotic scenes on the pitch at the end, Jordan Pickford jumping around, and I think really Newcastle will want to, they probably feel they owe Everton one from that point of view. Also Everton last season at St James Park holding Newcastle to a 1-1 draw that dented the European hopes. So there's so many sort of subplots going into this game, and I think Newcastle really do want to bounce back in style from last season at Goodison. We know Everton have had a tough start this season, but they got that win against Crystal Palace. So the big news from that point of view is that they don't go into this game and there's so much riding on it. They've got that first win. I think that helps Newcastle a little bit, but I think for Newcastle fans going down there, they'll feel that Newcastle should be beating Everton. If they've got any, aspirations of getting in the Champions League, you need to be going to somewhere like Everton and getting the 3 points. I'm sure Everton will have plenty to say about that. But look, this is a big game for Newcastle. They want to sign off for the international break on a high, and this gives them that ideal opportunity to do so.
So no official confirmation from Newcastle United on whether they're realistic about moving, but certainly more hints. And I think that the news we got yesterday from Brad Miller, basically moving it on until January, is giving people valuable thinking time, and I think it's definitely giving the club valuable thinking time. And for me, until that door's completely closed that they're going to move stadium, then people are going to talk about that, and it just feels like the option is going to remain there. And Eddie Howe almost hinting on that himself at his press conference today, about saying he could be swayed. Now, he may know a little bit more than we do. He may have been told little bits that Newcastle fans haven't. I know Newcastle are trying to be as transparent as possible in this, but the reality is it going to be a better decision to have a new stadium when you look at PSR and you look at all these other clubs that are increasing their capacities? Is it better for Newcastle to move home? Personally, I would like to see Newcastle build a bigger stadium at St James Park. They've never been able to do that. The only way they probably could do that is if they knock it all down and begin again, which leaves you with the problem of playing somewhere else for a while. But in some ways, if you could stay there and you could make the capacity 65,000, 70,000, whatever it will be, for me, staying at St James Park would be the best option. And if Newcastle did have to play somewhere else for a prolonged period, then I think deep down most fans would accept that and wait until you get the right product, which is a stadium where the ground is at the minute, rather than moving somewhere else, which we've heard in the past, other places around the city which have never come off. So that's my verdict. Hopefully Newcastle will give us more transparency on that moving forward, But yeah, big talking point, and one Eddie Howe is certainly not immune to.